Okay, so today we're going to talk about post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, and the criteria for this one is a long one, so I'm going to refer to my notes because I don't remember it all. That's why we have the DSM-5 TR to refer to help us out when we work, because it does have a lot of criteria. So, typically PTSD, it's in our popular media, it's someone that's experienced like a trauma that is like a uh, first responders or military. But what is it actually? So this, first of all, person has to be at least 6 years old. So it is actually a exposure to an actual or threatened death, serious injury, or sexual violence in one or more of the following. So they either directly experience that traumatic event, like it happens to them, they witness in person that it happens to someone they know, or they see this for just someone that on the street. So even natural disasters, as we've seen with the fires in LA, or even here in Florida, we deal with hurricanes. We had a lot of people experience trauma trying to survive when their houses were flooded. So it can be learning of trauma that occurs to like a close family member or a close friend. And that actually has to be like an actual or threatened death or violence towards that person. Or this someone who has PTSD experiences repeated or extreme exposure to those aversive details of trauma. So, like a first responder taking up, finding dead bodies when they go to help that person out, or dealing with other types of human remains. A police officer kind of dealing with life or death situations on a consistent basis can lead to PTSD. Also, that's criteria A. Criteria B, presence of one or more of the following associated with the event after it occurred. So we're looking at like recurrent or involuntary intrusive distressing thoughts. Like these thoughts of it just kind of come back up, and they have no control over it. They just occur. These recurrent dreams about that trauma will happen. Will have dissociative reactions, what we call flashbacks, when they feel that they're actually back in that situation where the trauma occurred. They'll also have intense and prolonged distress to any exposure to anything internal or external that reminds them of that event. Also, they'll have marked kind of physiological reactions like sweating, um, chest pains, rapid heart rate, stuff like that. That's criteria B. Next is criteria C. They'll have a persistent avoidance of anything that may be associated with that traumatic event or that reminds them after of that, according like one or more of the following. They'll avoid those events or those distressing memories associated with avoidance of making any effort to any external reminders of that. Have external and internal reminders they try to avoid in that, whether it be a person, a place, a situation, something else that reminds them of that. They also have, and that's the criteria, or C, that criteria D is negative alterations of their cognitions and moods because of the event. So, and it worsens over the course. After that, it happens, and over the course of time, with at least two or more of the following. So, inability to remember events of the traumatic event, persistent and negative beliefs about that event or towards others or expectations of that, persistent distorted cognitions about the cause or the consequences that led up to the event, or they blame themselves or the others. There may be a lot of guilt in that, like a persistent negative evaluation of themselves because of it, a diminished, they stop interacting socially, or in activities they used to like. It will completely shut them down. They won't do things that they had like to do for fun, and they'll start detaching and become estranged from others. And they'll have a persistent inability to experience any kind of positive emotions too. Next, criteria D. Thanks for hanging around. I told you this was going to be a long one. Any marked alteration or arousal or reactivity associated by at least two or more of the following. Their irritable behavior or angry outbursts. They'll engage in reckless or self-harming behaviors. They'll be hypervigilant, always on the lookout for something that may happen. They'll have exaggerated startle response, so they'll be very startled very easily. They'll have problems with concentration, and sleeping is not going to be very easy for them. So out of like B, C, D, and E, they have to have be persistent for at least 1 month. 1 month is the criteria. Before 1 month, we're looking at an acute stress disorder, which can actually turn into PTSD if these symptoms are occurring for more than 1 month. It'll affect their relationships, their jobs, their social interactions, any educational. Can't be due to another substance or medical condition or any other mental health. Some people can have dissociative symptoms, like depersonalization, where they don't feel like they're themselves. Maybe they feel like they're inside their own head, or derealization, where they feel like the world is a dream. Now, this can also have a delayed, meaning that they're not going to hit the full criteria for at least 6 months. That's called delayed onset. And hope this helps, and we'll have a good day.